Hi everybody, Michelle here with Sew It Online, and I'm going to show you how to do a single layer of ruffles and talk a little bit about differential feed. Alright, so if you're wanting to do some ruffles, and that's one of the cool things you can do on a serger, the Triumph here has a little lever on the far right. This is the lever for your differential feed, okay? A lot of sergers have differential feed. So what is that? Differential feed are two different sets of feed dogs underneath your presser foot. So when I take this foot off here, and let's open the doors up here a little bit. I don't know if you can see, but there's actually two sets of feed dogs. A sewing machine has one set of feed dogs. Serger has two. And what that does is it almost acts like a walking foot for your serger, your differential feed. So think of it as different feed dogs, differential feed underneath your presser foot. So I'm going to put the foot back on here, and let's talk about that differential feed. The lever that you have here on the side of the machine, and again, a lot of sergers have differential feed. On the Triumph, you're going to have the letter N. N stands for neutral. Neutral means that your two sets of feed dogs are moving at exactly the same rate, putting that fabric underneath your presser foot evenly, okay? Now, what if I put it all the way up to 2? All right? If it's up to 2, you're going to see a little picture above the number 2, and it's like two arrows coming in with like fabric kind of scrunched together. That means that fabric is going to gather. It's going to be pushed in a little bit faster. And what that means is this lever controls just the front feed dogs. The front feed dogs, when I'm up to 2, are now moving twice the distance as the back. The back is always moving at exactly the same distance all the time. But now it's pushing it a little bit faster, the front ones, faster than the back feed dogs can take. So it's going to ruffle that fabric. So you're going to get that, fabric in. It's going to take stitches and create some ruffles. So it's really cute on a little girl's skirt, on the end of an apron. Maybe you want to make little, strips of fabric with ruffles and attach them onto something else. Even a little girl's t-shirt. Maybe she's gotten too tall, but she doesn't want to get rid of that t-shirt. Add some really cool ruffles to it. So there's also, the lever can actually go below the letter N. Now what that does, it again only affects the front feed dogs. The front feed dogs are now going at a lesser distance than the back. So it's kind of holding on to that fabric. It's kind of holding on, almost stretching it a little bit, while the back ones are kind of like grabbing it and putting it under. So if you've ever made maybe a baby layette set, maybe you've used some fleece material, and fleece is stretchy on one side, but it's straight a grain on the other, so there's no pull. If you ever want to do a beautiful lettuce edge, you take the stretchy side of the fleece fabric, set your machine up for a rolled hem, and you're going to put this lever below the letter N, and it says 0.6, and the arrows are going to point away. That means it's kind of holding onto that fabric a little bit before it goes under the presser foot. When you do a rolled hem on a stretchy side of the fabric, when it comes out of the machine, it kind of is a little bit wavy. Well, when you pull it a little bit more, it creates this beautiful lettuce edge, and I definitely recommend trying it. It looks great on the little sleeve caps of a little skirt or a little t-shirt, or even on the edge, like the top of the socks. It's just really adorable. But I want to show you how to do the differential feed. On the Triumph and most of the other sergers from Babylock, their differential feed is on the right hand side. If you're not sure if you're on the neutral setting, put it way at the bottom and 2 clicks up and you're at the neutral setting. Now, when you are working with knits, that is when the differential feed is really going to come in handy. So have you ever worked with a t-shirt knit or a jersey knit, and you used a sewing machine and you put it through, and then you have this is a cotton material, but it's like you have this wave going on the other side of the machine, like what the heck happened, right? That's because the fabric was underneath the presser foot and it shifted as it went underneath the presser foot. So what I recommend is you take your knit fabric that you are working with, and I want you to take just 2 pieces, because you normally work with 2 pieces of fabric when you're putting something together. Put your differential feed on end, and I want you to run it through. Now, when you're all done and you have your 2 pieces are together, you take them out of the machine, and I want you to lay it down on the table. Okay? None of this. Okay? None of this. I want you to take it out and lay it down. If you see any kind of a ripple, I want you to put this differential feed up 1 click, and then I want you to test it again. Chances are 1 click is all you're going to need to go up to 1.3 to get those knit fabrics to come together just beautifully. Now, I have worked with some knits where I've had to go up to 1.5, and there's nothing wrong with that, okay? Sometimes it looks like there's like a little bit of a pleat, but it just presses out or steams out just, you know, really pretty. So again, test your knit fabrics before you work with them. The differential feed setting is not on your quick reference guide, but it is in your user manual. So make sure you look into that and try it out. It's really fun to kind of test different fabrics and what it will do using your differential feed. So just to do a single layer of cotton fabric, I have my stitch width set on 7.5. I have my stitch width, my stitch length on 4, excuse me. I am going to cut fabric, so I have my blade up, and I have the machine set up for a 4-thread overlock. I'm going to cut off maybe just about a 1/4 of an inch or whatever, just to show you what's going on. Make sure my presser foot is down. But the most important thing is put that differential feed all the way up to 2. That's going to give you the most ruffle. Now, every machine is different, okay? So Babylock is the mom and dad, right? But every serger are like brothers and sisters. They're all going to react a little bit differently. And a lot of that is because of us. I'm going to hold that fabric a little different than maybe the next person next to me in a class. So when you put your fabric underneath the presser foot, make sure you're guiding it. If you put any kind of pressure whatsoever on that fabric, it's going to prevent those feed dogs from doing their job. So you just want to just simply guide it. And sometimes it's just a matter of holding it between your fingers and letting it go under. Another thing you can do is when it's going, you know, underneath the presser foot, you can put your hand back here, and I would use this hand just because we're on camera, but you can put your hand back here and let it puddle up the fabric, and that'll also help you to get a ruffle. Now, there are settings you can change that we'll talk about at another time as to help you ruffle a little bit more, but I just want you to get an idea of how to practice ruffling. So let's run this through. And you see how it kind of starts getting grippy, like right off the bat? And I'm just barely pushing it. I'm not even pushing it through. I want the machine to pull it itself. You got to practice this a little bit. And remember I was talking to you about puddling? This is what that means. I'm going to let it puddle right up behind the foot. Okay. When I run it through, I like to give myself a little bit of a tail when I do ruffles. So you can see that I've got some nice ruffles here, okay? Now, let's say maybe it didn't ruffle as much as you wanted it to. One of the things that you can do, and there's a few different ways you can do this, what you want to do is look for your needle threads. So since my fabric is all the same color, I want to look for my 2 straight lines. The 2 straight lines on the top of the fabric, those are my needle threads, and that's what I want to be able to hold on to. When I hold on to those needle threads, and I can actually adjust my ruffles. So I'm going to clip this just a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to just pinch it right here, and I'm going to pull it. And if you notice, when I pull, I have 2 threads that are very long, and I have 2 threads right there that are very short. Those are my needle threads. So that's what I want to hang on to. I'm going to pull those, and then if I keep going, I can get it wrapped around my finger. Then I can actually pull this and make a tighter ruffle just by holding on to the needle threads. I can also bring up the needle threads from the center and gather from here and on the other end. So you can certainly adjust your gathers depending on what you're putting it in, or maybe you need it a specific length. As with any serger or any project that you're doing on the serger, make sure you make something longer than what you actually need so you can adjust it. Now remember, I was going to tell you maybe in another video of some things you can do to adjust your settings. So maybe you didn't get as much ruffle as you would like. There's a couple things that you can do. When you open up the doors of your Triumph, you're going to notice that there is a little knob right here. This is your fine-tuning adjustment knob, okay? This is just to help you get a little, maybe kind of tweak your overlock stitches a little bit. You can go maybe about halfway, run your practice ruffle through again, and see if that'll work for you. Maybe it'll be a little bit better. The other thing you can do is on the far right here, we have it set on the letter A. This is our stitch selector. I can actually put it on the letter B. It'll kind of make it a little bit tighter, the tension discs, and a lot of times you'll get even a tighter ruffle using those settings. When you are done ruffling, do make sure that you put everything back to the way it was, and you'll be in good shape. Now, when you use your differential feed and then you go back to doing maybe a straight 4-thread overlock, if you notice that thread or that fabric is bunching quite a bit or right off the bat, remember you've got to put your differential feed back on N. So enjoy using that differential feed and check out trying to make some ruffles for the next project you'd like to make.